Executive Director, Crown Trust, Ms. Daisy. This name has always given me trouble. Head of Corporation Global Affairs Canada, Ms. Janine Coker. Dr. Susan Koech, Deputy Governor, Central Bank of Kenya. Distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, good morning. When women are economically empowered, they uplift their families, communities, and the entire nations. It is a great honor and a privilege to stand here this morning and discuss issues related to women economic empowerment under the theme, What Works for Women's Economic Empowerment. This is a forum that has brought experts and practitioners together, plus advocates of women economic empowerment. So it is such a great forum. I would like to thank the organizers of this very important event, that is Crown Trust. This is commendable. And we truly appreciate the fact that you found it fit to invite us for this event. As we gather here today, we mark not just a moment of reflection, but also an opportunity for action in the context of the Beijing Platform for Action Plus 30. This is the platform that was adopted back in the year 1995. And maybe you may ask, although I know this is known to you, why we keep making reference to Beijing Plus 30. This is because this is the time that we came up with a global call for action. We came up with a global framework, which was quite comprehensive, a document that 189 countries agreed to adhere to. So in the past, of course, we had other women conferences. We had one in Mexico back in the year 1975. We had a Copenhagen, 1918. We were also bold enough as a country to hold one in Nairobi back in the 1985. But 1995 was a landmark framework for advancing gender equality and the empowerment of women worldwide. So as we celebrate 30 years since the adoption of Beijing Declaration, we take pride in the strides that we have made as a country. There are a number of areas of concern that were identified then, which included education, poverty, health, environment, armed conflict, the media, violence against women, etc. And also, of course, the economic empowerment of women. So today we are going to see where are we as a nation. Clearly, we have made strides. I know a number of times we really kind of hit ourselves so hard, not realizing that as a nation, we are far ahead. We are not yet there, but we have a lot that has been put in place. We are a country that needs to celebrate itself. When we are out there, and quite a number of you, I know you have really traveled, we know very well that many countries benchmark with us because we have really moved ahead in this space. Let's probably look at the gains in women's economic empowerment in Kenya. Over the 30 years, that is the 3 decades that you're talking about, Kenya has made remarkable progress in advancing the economic empowerment of women. Some of the key gains include legal and policy reforms. We have made tremendous strides in enacting policies that support women's economic participation. Notably, of course, is the Constitution of Kenya, 2010, that enshrines gender equality and the right to economic empowerment. The State Department for Gender and Affirmative Action has developed 2 policies. One of them is the National Policy on Women Economic Empowerment, and let me confirm that it has gone through, it has been approved by the Cabinet. And we also have the National Care Policy, which will go a long way in contributing to our country's economic growth through empowering women. Number two, we have improved access to financial services through initiatives like banking and M-Pesa. Today, women can now save, borrow, and invest with greater ease than before, hence contributing significantly to the economic independence and the growth of MSMEs. You're aware that in the past, women were not allowed to access credit. They could not even open an account without the company of men. These days, we can. Yes. Number three, we have entrepreneurship growth. According to World Bank, approximately 48% of small and medium-sized enterprises in Kenya are women-owned, highlighting a significant participation of women in the country's entrepreneurial landscape. KNBS, that is Kenya National Bureau of Statistics, reports that over 70% of women in rural areas are involved in micro and small enterprises, largely agriculture, retail, and services. This means that women are increasingly becoming key players in the entrepreneurial landscape. The government's support through National Government Affirmative Action Fund, Women Enterprise Fund, or we also have the WESO Fund, have increased enabling environments for these businesses to grow. Number four, we have representation in leadership and decision making. While we admit that there is so much more that needs to be done in this space, we can pride in the fact that we have made major strides in increasing the number of women in decision-making positions. Women can now serve in high offices in government, corporate boards, and civil society organizations. This has increased representation, and this ensures that women's economic interests are addressed at very high levels. It's just like, to me it appears like it's just the other day, 1992, when we only had 6 members of parliament who are women. Today, as we speak, we have 102, both in National Assembly and in the Senate. That is progress. You remember when we had the swearing in of our Deputy President, His Excellency? The podium had women only. Did you notice that? The judiciary is headed by women. I think we need to give ourselves a clap. We have made strides. We are not yet there, but we have really made major strides in this space. When you look at youth and women-focused programs, through Crown Trust and other like-minded organizations, a growing number of women, particularly from marginalized communities, are equipped with knowledge, skills, and networks that empower them to actively participate in the economy. Programs aimed at women's education, training, and mentorship have flourished in the last few years. Now, while we celebrate these gains and many others that I have not mentioned, we must also acknowledge that there are significant barriers to women's full economic empowerment. Women in Kenya continue to face challenges such as limited access to capital. We have cultural barriers. We have lack of adequate infrastructure. We have gender-based violence, particularly in the last couple of months, the country has witnessed increased gender-based violence, including femicide. We also have discriminatory practices even in the workplace. So we still have some challenges, and these are challenges that we will continuously address as a government, as civil societies, as all stakeholders, because we are in this together. Furthermore, women-owned businesses in Kenya, especially within MSME sector, are often constrained by limited market access, poor infrastructure, and low financial literacy. So to ensure that we build on the gains made and address the persistent challenges, I would like to propose the following recommendations to all of us, the stakeholders, the government, the private partners that we have, civil society organizations, NGOs, our partners, development partners. We need to enhance access to finance, tailored financial products, lowered interest rates, and mentorship programs, I suggest should be expanded to ensure that women-led MSMEs can thrive. Number two, we need to build gender-responsive infrastructure, especially in the rural areas. I'm referring to road networks, improving digital infrastructure, and providing reliable access to utilities like water and electricity, which are all essential for women's businesses to function effectively. We may also need to improve on legal frameworks. And like I had mentioned earlier, in this space we have made notable strides in legal reforms, but it's crucial that we strengthen them and we enforce the existing laws so that we can continuously ensure that the women's economic rights are promoted. We also need to promote women's entrepreneurial education in order to thrive in today's competitive market. So let's endeavor to empower women as far as skills are concerned, knowledge, and tools to succeed in this space. We encourage public-private partnerships. We need to deepen that collaboration between the government, the private sector, and the civil society. This way, we are going to create more opportunities for women in business, particularly in sectors such as technology, agriculture, manufacturing, etc., where women's participation has been low traditionally. We also need to strengthen social protection mechanisms like health care, child care, social safety nets, etc. And it's also vital that we put in place robust monitoring and evaluation systems to assess the impact of women's economic empowerment programs. Finally, ladies and gentlemen, as I conclude, as we celebrate Beijing Plus 30, please let's recognize how far we have come as a nation and remain determined to break the remaining barriers to women's economic empowerment. By strengthening our collective efforts, investing in the empowerment of women, and supporting their entrepreneurial ventures, clearly, we can create an environment where women are not only contributors to the economy, but they are also recognized as economic powerhouses. I urge all the stakeholders present today, governments, because I know we have people from the government here, businesses, civil society organizations, development partners, and individuals to continue working collaboratively to ensure that the next 30 years are even more successful in empowering women economically and creating a more prosperous and inclusive Kenya. Together, let us work to ensure that what works for women's economic empowerment is accessible to all. I now declare the forum officially opened. Thank you.